And the next option here is import units. As you can see, that Revit software enables us to specify the units for the imported or linked files into Revit. For instance, if I choose each one of these files of types, we got some types of import units. For instance, DWG. As you can see, we got auto detect feet, inch, meters, decimeters, centimeters, millimeters, and US survey feet and custom factor. If I set it to the default option or auto detect, it means that the set or the pre-specified unit for the file that is going to be imported or linked is set for the import unit. For instance, if we have used metric units in AutoCAD before imported into Revit, then the detected unit will be per millimeters, and we got inches for imperial. So before importing the files, we just open the drawing units to make sure about that. And after checking the scale of the elements, however, if you wanted to specify the import units from here, let me open the file path. For instance, I select this. Then I can set the unit, for instance. If we used centimeters before, we can set it to millimeters, centimeters, inches, feet, and so on. And if the file does not have a specific unit, you can set it to factor and then customize the factor. For instance, I open AutoCAD and then I open a new template file, a ISO, like this way. I type rectangle, then I draw it at the origin point, the inter, one inter, and one inter. A rectangle, 1 in 1. Then I set the unit per meters. After that I save it. Units, save. Here as you can see, we specified 1 meter, per meter for the units in the CAD file. Right now, if I import it, if I set it to auto detect, then the object or the rectangle will be imported per millimeters. Since the set unit in Revit in my software is metric, as you can see, and right now, if I set the import units to meters, watch this, still the set unit here is per millimeters. Watch this, the scale is not changed, as you can see. And right now, if I set the import unit to centimeters and then I import it, check it out. Let me make some copies out of units. Then I import it per centimeters. Check it out. Right now, if I measure the length, as you can see, 10 centimeters in 10 centimeters because of the scale. So note that when you set the import units, it makes some changes. And let me make another example with meters. Check it out, we got the same object. Again, I delete it, and then this time if I set it to per millimeters, then millimeters will be set for it. Watch this, and if I measure it, check it out, 1 millimeter in 1 millimeter, while we set 1 meter for a meter. So guys, be careful about setting import units while you want to import your files. However, if the unit is not specified, you can set it to custom, like this way. Check it out. And then I delete it. Again, select, and 100. Check out the result. Let me try again. I 1000 for the custom factor. Check it out. Since here in Revit we are working per millimeters, okay, so when we specify a factor of 1000, it will be 1 in 1. And here we got 2 meters in 2 meters for the length. So guys, while importing your files or CAD files into Revit, you should, or you must actually, put import units into consideration and specify the value meticulously and make sure that the scale is correct and accurate in your CAD file. And after that you can just import it, and then you set the import units per meters or inches. Then you can import your file and continue working on your project at ease. And the next one is correct lines that are slightly off axis. Here we got another important option and also practical, that it is checked by default. Let me open this file. I want to give you some explanations. Sometimes in AutoCAD software we got some lines that they are not necessarily perpendicular and their angles are not necessarily 90 degrees, like 89.9 degrees, and then I trim the redundant parts. Suppose that this file has been given to you and you are not aware of the unintended error in the angle of this line. So you may just consider that there is a 90 degrees angle, but if I add the angular dimension like this way, the enter, then I open the modify in text, not 0.2, text height, center, not 0.1, and not 0.2. I minimize the arrow size and the symbol, and then the precession 3, check it out, 89.99. So this is not 90 degrees. Let me control the angular dimension here in text, not 0.15, not 0.1, or for the precession, angle precession, 2 zeros, done, and I close them. Let me see, and extract line ETX, better than before. Check it out. So now before adding the angular dimension, we suppose that it was 90 degrees. Let me save this file, then I want to import it to Revit. I select it, then I uncheck correct line that are slightly off axis per meters. Watch this. Actually the geometry does exist. Let me link it again. I uncheck and then I open it. Watch this. Here, as you can see, if I add an angular dimension here, look, as you can see, this is the result. And right now, if I want to use P-Line for drawing a wall, check it out. We got a warning message that wall is slightly off axis and may cause inaccuracies. It says that the wall is not perpendicular on the other wall, so the angle must be revised. And this is not an accurate value for the angle, okay? I delete this. Afterwards, I want to insert the file, and then I check correct lines that are slightly off axis. Afterwards, it will revise the angles that are off axis automatically. Watch this. And right now, if I draw a wall, then we got no warning message, okay? Since the line is no more off axis. And this is very practical and helpful for us in such a condition. that we can correct the lines that are slightly off axis, just like as I showed you in the examples. But if you want to just check the lines that are off axis, you can uncheck it, and this option is checked by default, and my recommendation is to check this option to make your projects accurate.